Yeah, so question number one, did you understand question number one?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ikram? Ikram is Suleiman, sorry.
Ikram is not here. It's me, Sulaiman.
Yeah, Suleiman, do you understand question one, or we should go through question one from the beginning? Okay, we will go from question one again.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, if you see question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 149, 150, 151, and 152, they are all the hotspot is the same for all these questions in this entire PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the questions I found the solution for which I was asking from the instructor. He didn't explain to me, but I found the answers for 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't go through 149, 150, these. So if you see the question number one, the best option I would recommend, if you go to the question what is in, because it's a lot of information in this, and most of the information we do not require
Yeah.
for the question, you see. And I'm gonna explain to you why we don't need all this information. So if you go to question number one, what question has been asked? So the questions are asked here. User one can create a file named d folder one file .txt, whatever, all these questions. You read these three questions, so it is related to users, right? We
Yeah.
have given it is related to users and devices, and we have given the user table and the device table, right? Both tables are given. So at this time we will not look at we won't look at the policies. We will not look at the groups, or there are some other things as well, like VPN connection. We don't need to read these. We don't need to read the tags. We don't need to read the network boundary, all these things. Even the autopilot, this exhibit, we don't need this one as well. This is for autopilot deployment. We also don't need to read this one, you see.
Yeah.
So just go to the question and what is asked in the question. So in the question it is asking that which users are allowed to create a file on the following devices. So if you look at user one, it says user one can create a file on device 4, right? Is it true or false? If it is true, then we say yes. If it's false, then we say no. So if you go to question, I would just open a new one here. Just look at the users. So if you look at users, so user one, who is user one? User one is cloud device administrator, right? Cloud device administrator. And if you look at the notes here, cloud device administrator manages and configures cloud-based devices, including enrolling, monitoring, and wiping devices, right?
Yeah.
And can manage these devices as well. So technically, if you look, cloud device administrator, they can create files. They can create files on cloud managed devices, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at device 4, what is device 4? So device 4 is personally owned. It's personally owned. And when a device is personally owned, that means that that device is registered with the domain. It's not uh, it's not joined to the domain. If the
Domain.
device is just registered, then the cloud administrators cannot fully
Ex-
control that device, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they cannot delete your files and folders because it is your own device. Just take an example of your phone. Your phone, you might have some pictures and videos which you have taken for your own, right? Uh, so it is not a good practice that the cloud administrator at your company where you are working can access your personal files and folders.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is not allowed to see your personal files and folders, and even he is not allowed to to delete your files and folders. Why would he delete your personal pictures and videos or
Yeah.
files? Yeah, so personally owned device, the cloud administrator has no access, that sort of access that he can clear your device, he can wipe your device, or he can create files and folders on your device.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it is a corporate owned means a company owned device. So you did not pay for the device. It is not your personal device. They gave you the device for work purpose. So you use that device entirely for
You have
work
full
purpose.
control. Yeah, they have full control for.
Yeah, so they have full control, and corporate owned devices they are domain joined devices, right? They are
Yeah.
not registered devices. So if you see user 2 can remove folder 1 from the list of protected folders on device 2. So let's see first who is user 2. So user 2, where is the user 2? User 2 is Azure AD joint device local administrator. So yes, he has a sort of access. He can remove, user 2 can remove the folder, but
Yeah.
let's see what device. So it's device 2.
Yeah.
So device 2 is corporate owned, right? Device
Yeah.
2 is corporate owned device. So if you see user 2 is administrator, he can create files, he can delete files, he can do whatever with the cloud managed devices. And even if you see a device 2 is also corporate owned. That means it's domain joined, right?
Yeah.
So if it is domain joined, that means that device is owned by the company and they can do whatever they want. So user 2 can actually remove the folder. So if you say yes, here, so the first one is no, right? And the second one is yes, because user 2 is administrator and device 2 is corporate owned.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah, and if you see a user 3 can create a file name, he can create a file. If let's see who is user 3. So user 3 is a global reader. If you look at the definition of global reader here, uh, global reader. So global reader can read all directory data including users, group applications, and devices. The global reader can only read, right? He
Yeah.
cannot, the global reader don't have the privileges to write means changing the data, like saving, creating new files and folders, or making changes to the device. They cannot, right?
Yeah.
So at the very first instance, if you see user 3 is a global reader, and it's saying create a file. When it says create a file, that means
They
that,
they
yeah,
can't.
they can't because they don't have the right access.
Yeah.
When right access create comes under right access. If you want to create something, you need right access, but user 3 only have read access.
Yeah.
So yeah, from the very first instance, you can say that this one is no.
Yeah.
And if you see device 2, so device 2 is domain joined. So here it is correct, but again I would say user 3 is a global reader. He cannot make changes. So this one is also no. So only user 2, the one in the middle, it's true, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so is that clear, Suleiman?
Yes, sir. It's very clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, question number two. Question number two. We'll leave this one as it is. So, question number two, if you go to question, what is asked in the question? Uh, okay, in this question is asking which devices are registered by using autopilot deployment service. So you see, you can see from here where you will need to look the information, right?
Yeah, we have to find out what is autopilot, Windows autopilot deployment.
Yes, so Windows Autopilot pilot deployment, the exhibit is given here. If you see, this is the autopilot deployment. Which one is that? This one. This one. You see, this one is Windows Autopilot. If you see, Adatom has Windows Autopilot deployment profile configured as shown in the following exhibit. So this image is given for autopilot configuration.
Okay.
Is this bit from question one, or
This is question two.
this bit we have seen in question one as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's the same. You see, these are all the
Okay.
same. All
Okay.
the information is given.
I got it.
Yeah, it's for the same question one, two, three, and four. These are the same information in the question, but the question is are asked, differently.
Yes, I understand it.
Yeah. So if you see here, okay, so this is Windows Autopilot configuration, and you remember the lab out of the box experience. So these devices are automatically enrolled in Intune.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I would say just forget about all these configuration and see that which, because it is asking, which devices will be registered, which devices are registered by using Windows Autopilot service.
Okay, so we have to look for that which device is set up for autopilot.
Yes. So if you look here, this is out of the box experience, and even it mentions here that the following exhibit is for autopilot deployment. So in autopilot deployment, we have set this configuration profile. It is up to you however you want, right?
Hmm.
And if you look assignments here, so it is included, the included group is group 1, right?
Yeah,
Included group is group 1 and excluded group is group 2.
true. Yeah.
So now, if now you have to find out, you go again, you have given the device list, which devices are there, and which groups are they assigned to. So you go straight away, you go to the device table. I am going to the device table, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the device table, and so you have to look
Yes,
here.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, this one.
One
uh,
is one.
yeah, so you have given this is the configuration, and this is the device table. So device one, 2, 3, 4, you see they are corporate owned, personally owned, and also groups are given. So if you see group 1, okay, included groups are group 1, right? So if
Yeah.
you see group 1, device 1 will be registered for autopilot because device 1 is a member of group 1, right?
Yeah.
And device 3 is also,
Group one.
yeah, is also a member of group 1, so it is also registered for autopilot, right?
Autopilot.
But how about device 2? What would you say? Device 2.
Yes, as well, because it's corporate owned and it's under group one.
Because device 2 is also a member of group 1, right?
Yeah.
And but if you see it here, excluded groups, then we have group 2 as well. Group 2 is excluded as well. It is a device. Device 2 is a member of group 1, but is also a member of group 2. So what would you say? Will it be excluded, or will it be registered for autopilot, or will it not be registered for autopilot?
Not.
Why?
In this case, it's not. But in group two, do they have two different devices? Like one is personal owned and one is corporate owned. There's two
No,
separate.
no, no, no. Autopilot is different. Autopilot is not, it's just device management in which you configure application policies or some other policies you implement. So you don't take full control of the devices. Even you can enroll devices which are registered to the domain, not joined to the domain. Like you can join, you can, if you join, if you register your device with your organization, right?
Yeah.
Like I explained to you last time, Microsoft Outlook, I was not able to copy email contents from the Microsoft Outlook to another application. That was because my device was registered to the Intune, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have control over certain applications from the Intune. So there is no such thing. We don't discuss here the corporate owned or personally owned, because both corporate owned and personally owned devices can be.
Yeah, Adil, I got it.
Yeah,
Because group 2 is registered for device 2 and another group 2 is registered for device 4.
yeah.
Yeah. So whatever group 2 is connected to device 2, they can have full access, and whatever register with device 4 group 2, they don't have any access because it's personally owned.
No, like I said, personally owned or corporate owned. In Intune, we don't discuss personally owned and corporate owned. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, because in Intune you can manage both. You can manage corporate owned devices. You can own personally owned devices. Like I said, if you have your phone, right? You have your Android phone, for example.
okay.
So I cannot delete your personal files and folders on your phone, right?
Yeah.
But I can manage certain applications. For example, I gave you access to Microsoft Outlook. Yeah,
Yeah.
you sign in to Microsoft Outlook using my organization email. So I want to disable your clipboard in that Microsoft Outlook app. You won't be able to copy something from Microsoft Outlook,
Okay.
even
So,
though, yeah, even though it is your personal device, but you won't be able to copy something from Microsoft Outlook to another device. You can do whatever you want with the rest of applications, but
uh,
not with Microsoft Outlook.
so whatever is provided from Microsoft application, they can have full access. But
Yes.
rather than other application, they can you can do personally owned.
Yes, other applications like you have gallery, you have music, you have
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah, you can download anything to your phone, you can do whatever you want. But if I assign an application to you, that means you can only do to that application whatever I want. Totally based on my policy. So if for this question, in Intune, in terms of Intunes, you just neglect this
Mm.
corporate owned or personally owned. You focus on device. You
Device
fo-
and group.
yeah, focus on devices and group. Yeah. So if you see device one will be registered because device one is a member of group one. Yeah, and group one is included for autopilot deployment. and
Okay.
and the other one is device 3. So device 3 will also be registered in autopilot deployment because it is also a member
It's
of
under group one.
group
So
1.
anything on group one, because it's included.
Yeah.
Anything under group one will be
Yeah.
included.
Yes, anything
Mm.
in group 1 will be included. If you see, group 1 is included groups, so
It's
there will
included.
be um there will be a they will be registered for autopilot deployment. Now, but in device 2, here in simple words, let me tell you, exclusions always take priority. Exclusions, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if device 2 is a member of, even though device 2 is a member of group 1, but again there is device 2 is also a member of group 2, which is excluded one. So here exclusions take priority. And
They.
when, yeah, and by that we mean that device 2 will not be registered because
Okay.
of the priority, priority exclusions priority.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah.
yeah. So where was the question? Okay, device 3, device 1 and device 3 only. You see device 1 and device 3 only. Because I told you device 1 and device 3, they are members of group 1. Here device 2 is a member of group 1, which meets the requirement, but again group 2 is excluded, and device 2 is also a member of group 2,
Mm.
that is why exclusions take priority. So for example, let me give you an example. Both of you are very good people, right? Honest people. And but Disha has a friend or a company, who are bad people. I don't like them. Yeah, I don't trust them. So, even though you yourself is a good person, but I can't trust you because of those people, right? So
Yeah.
that is why group two, device two is a member of those bad people, right? Is a member of group two. So that's the simple, a general example. I hope that will be clear now.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is clear, brother. Yeah, it's clear to me as well.
Okay, I also explained here, if you see these notes, why device 2, why not device 2? Device 2 is a part of group 1 and group 2, so it should be, I explained this one, but I think it's not, hold on, you should see the answer. Okay, I think that is not saved. I explained this one, why device 2 is not. I explained the same thing here. I will explain again. I will write it again. Okay, now we are going to question number 3. There are no related labs. There are almost all of them are related to these labs, because auto deployment and all these. It's just related to groups and policies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the question again, like I said. Uh, question. Okay, so it is related to the policy, right? Device 1 is marked as compliant, and device 4 is marked as compliant, device 5 is marked as compliant. Which devices are marked as compliant? So these are, again, if you just straight away jump to the question, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
get an idea where to look the information. And this is what I was asking there, give us some tips and tricks, because we don't have that much time to read all this information, in the question, in the exam. Okay, if you go to the policies, policy 1 and policy 2. Now, here is the trick, right? Now, try to understand this trick. They have put this trick here. policy 1 and policy 2, right? Policy 1 says require bit locker only, right?
Yeah.
Policy 2 says require secure boot only. So if you look here, policy 1 is assigned to group 1 and policy 2 is also assigned to group 1. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So technically, if I say policy one plus policy two is equal to policy three, you see, require bit locker and secure boot, right? So
Mm.
so we can make one policy, but they have made this trick here. So
And they
this,
create a group two. They may, yeah.
yeah, you see, these are this policy is, we could create one policy, this one, yeah, one policy, and
Mm.
assign to group one, right? But they have created two policies. They have created two policies, two separate policies, and assigned to group one. So here they have done this is like a good practice. Policy 3 is assigned to group 2, right? So you
Yeah.
can also split policy 3 into this form, right? If I split policy 3, I would say policy 3 require BitLocker and policy 4 require secure boot, and then I assign both of them to group 2, right?
Hmm.
You understand my point?
Yes.
So what I mean by policy 1 and policy 2, if a device is a member of group 1, right? So
Hmm.
if a device is a member of group 1, so the group 1 device must comply with both these policies, which is technically the same thing as this one, policy 3. Yeah, you
No, but
understand?
no, but Adil,
Yeah,
policy one, yeah,
yeah,
is only BitLocker,
yeah,
and they create group one,
yeah,
and policy two required secure boot only. That's
yeah,
two difference. But they create a new group to apply policy three.
yeah.
So they both don't have a they both have required BitLocker and secure boot.
Well, you didn't get my point. I told you this is a trick, they applied here. You see, this is group 1, right?
Yeah.
This is group 1 and this is group 1 as well, right?
Mm.
So they have created two separate policies. One is require bit locker only, and the second policy is require secure boot only, right?
Okay, so both group one apply a different policy.
Group 1 must comply with both these policies, because policy 1 is also applied to group 1 and policy 2 is also applied to group 1.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Mm.
let me give you another example. If I say policy 3, let's split policy 3, right? If I say policy 3 and I create another policy, so this one is policy 3, for example, require BitLocker, right? And I
Mm.
make this policy 4, right?
Mm.
This is policy 4, require secure boot, and I assigned this as well to group, this policy 4 to group 2. So it
Mm.
is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just created two
Got it.
policies.
Got it. Because the group one is applied for the same policy.
Yes, exactly. So group one has assigned both of these policies are
Yeah. Mm.
assigned to group one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if any device in group one, they have okay. Now let's take an example. Device one, right? Device one has the bit locker. Okay, device
Mm.
1 has the BitLocker enabled, right? So here it says require BitLocker. So if you see, it is compliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
device 1 is compliant, and even device 1 is a member of group 1, right? So it is compliant, device 1. But how about the second policy that is also related to group 1, which is require secure boot, right?
Yeah.
So for group 1 there are two policies. For group 1 there are two policies, right?
Yeah.
One is BitLocker and one is secure
Secure.
boot. Secure boot only. So the first one here, it complies, and we say group 1, device 1 is compliant, right? But if
Yeah.
you see at the second policy that has been created for group 1 as well, require secure boot, and if you see, it does not, the secure boot is not configured for
Mm.
device 1, and device 1 is a member of group 1. You see, device 1 is a member of group 1.
One. Yeah.
So so that means device 1 is not compliant. You get me?
Yeah. Yeah. Because device one is member of group one.
Yeah, I
Mm.
can Soleiman, you understand my point?
I think I understand. It's just a
Yeah,
bit, it's a bit partly like, group, what is it called? Policy one has
yeah,
secure boot, yeah, and which is group one, and policy two is, sorry, policy one is BitLocker, group one, policy two is secure boot, group one. But in here, there are devices like for group group one has device one.
yeah.
So on that bit, we can say yes, it is like I don't know how to explain. Uh, so part of this is like I don't know how to
Okay,
say.
here if you see, we have two policies, right? Policy 1 and policy 2, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Policy 1 and policy 2. No, I would say this is policy B. Do you agree with this statement? Policy 1 plus policy 2 equals to policy B, and if you see policy 3 is equal to policy B. It's policy, this is policy 3, right?
Yeah.
So require BitLocker
And
and
secure.
and secure boot. So this is policy B, right?
Mm.
And if you look at policy 1, that is require BitLocker, which is the same BitLocker, right?
Yeah.
And policy 2 requires secure boot, right?
Yeah.
You agree with this statement that policy 1 and policy 2 is equal to policy 3?
Three. Yeah. Is agree. Yeah.
Yes, I'm agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you agree that, then take a look. Policy 1 plus 2 is assigned to group 1. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
In policy 3 is assigned
To group two.
to group 2. So you agree with this statement, right?
Yes.
So if you agree with this statement, that means that policy 1, group 1 devices must comply with policy 1 and policy 2
Yes.
both, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
here they have the thing I told you, they have put this trick here. They will trick you with this kind of confusions, right? But
Yeah.
if you see, this is group 1 and group 1, so why don't we just make one policy like policy 3, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we just make one policy and assign it to group 1?
Group one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they don't need to create a policy three. Just
yeah,
make group policy one and assign to group one. That's it. and
Yeah,
require BitLocker and secure boot. That's it. Finish.
exactly. So let me say, I would create policy A, which is require BitLocker and secure boot, and is assigned to group 1. And then policy B is the same thing, you see,
Yeah, yeah. Why we need to create policy B? We
and
don't
is
need.
assigned to group 2. But the only difference is policy B is assigned to group 2, right? And policy A is equal to policy 1 and
But
policy 3.
policy, but Adil, the policy is the same. So why?
Policy, yeah. All policies are the same, but the only difference is for group 1 they have split the policy 3 into 2.
Okay.
Yeah, if you see policy 3, right,
Hmm.
policy 3 is the combination of policy 1 and policy
Hmm.
2.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is combination of policy 1 and policy 2. Yes, it would be different if this one was assigned to another, right? If I
Hmm.
would say, if here was let's say if here was 3, group 3, if secure boot was policy 2 required secure boot and was assigned to group 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then here we would say that device 1 was marked as compliant, right?
Yeah.
Because device 1 is a member of group 1,
Group one.
right? And the required BitLocker policy is applied only to group 1, right? The
Yeah.
only policy that is assigned to group
Fine.
1 is BitLocker, and BitLocker is applied here, is configured here, right?
Yeah.
But and secure boot is not assigned to group 1. Secure boot is assigned to group 3, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, just in case. But
Yeah.
here they have made this confusion. They have created two policies. You understand now?
Yes. Yes.
Suleiman, are you clear now?
Yes, I'm clear. I'm clear. Yeah.
Okay. So which one would you say now? Can you tell me which one would be? Device 1 is compliant or not?
Device one.
Yes, it is compliant.
Yes. Yes.
How is it compliant? You
No,
see,
but secure boot is no. So no, no, is not compliant.
yeah, secure boot, you see, policy 2, which is also assigned to group 1, and secure boot is not configured here.
Yes.
Suleiman, you understand? You still look confused.
Okay, that in that case, only device two is compliant because it has both secure boot and BitLocker, right? Device two.
Device 2 is compliant, has both, and device 2 is a member of group 1
And group two.
and group 2.
But group two is excluded, right?
No,
No,
this is different question.
it's different question. It's a different question. Group 2 is not excluded. That was the previous question for autopilot deployment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say? Device 2 is compliant?
Mm,
Yes.
yes.
If you look, device 2 is compliant in all conditions, you know. Device, if you look for group 1, the group 1 assigned the policy assigned to group 1 is require BitLocker only, yeah. So
Yeah.
BitLocker is configured, yeah. And require policy 2 says require secure boot is also configured, right? So
Yeah.
device 2,
It's compliant. Yeah.
yeah, is compliance. And even that even device 2 is a member of group 2 as well, yeah. And if
Yeah.
you see, If you see group 2, the require BitLocker and secure boot. So it's assigned to group 2.
Group
So
2,
in
yeah.
all cases, device 2 is compliant.
Yes.
And what as question says, but there is no device 2 asked whether device 2 is compliant or not, right?
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
So device 1 is not compliant.
Yes.
Yeah, device now it's device 4.
So,
All no in here.
No, how I'll know? You tell me about the device 4.
so device 4
Device four
is,
is like only you see only secure boot. It doesn't have BitLocker.
yeah,
So
no,
it's
it's
no.
not compliant.
Yeah, even device five, it has is a BitLocker, but it's not in secure boot.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. Here you get confused again. Here you get confused again. So device 4, I understand. Device 4 is a member of which group? You tell me. Device 4 is a member of
Group 2.
group 2, right? And group
yeah,
2 has these conditions, right? These policy conditions. And device 4 does not comply because BitLocker is not configured, right? Secure
Yeah.
boot is configured, but BitLocker is not configured. You look at device 5. Here is the trick again. You look at device 5. Device 5, it says is device 5 marked as compliant or not. So if you look at device 5 is a member of group 3,
Mm.
right? Device 5 is a member of group 3. Is there any policy for group 3?
No,
no,
there is no
no.
policy.
If there is no policy, then there is no point to make a whether it is compliant or not compliant. So automatically device 5 is compliant.
Yes.
Yeah, if
Oh,
I
if there is no policy, it's compliant.
if there is no policy, let me ask you a general question. For example, I tell you I'm gonna give you a reward or I'm gonna punish you, yeah, but based on something. Let's say I'm asking you a question. If you didn't answer me that question, or if you didn't do this work, if you didn't complete this job, I'm gonna punish you. Or if you completed this job, then I will reward you. So there are two conditions, right? You get either fun punishment or you get reward. But for what? Because I assigned you a task, right?
Yeah.
But if I haven't assigned you a task, then on what basis I'm gonna reward you or I'm gonna punish you? You don't get any reward or you don't get any punishment. There is no job I have asked you for. There is no policy I have created for you. So if there is no policy, that means, technically you are free. And when you are free, that means that this device is compliant, it can join because there is no policy created for group 3.
Yeah.
You
So there,
Yeah,
understand?
yeah.
You understand? So device 5 is a member of group 3, right?
yeah.
And we haven't created any policy for group 3. When there is no policy, yeah, that means that that device
Automatically,
policy is mostly like restricting,
yeah.
restrictions. So if there are no restrictions, on device 5, yeah, device 5 is a member of group 3, and if you see the policies, there is no policies assigned to group 3, so
Yeah.
device 5 is automatically compliant.
Compliant, yeah. Mm.
You get me, yeah?
Yes, got it, Adil, yeah.
Suleiman, is it clear?
Yes, yes. Good.
Okay, now, okay, so you see device 5 is compliant. Okay, let's go to question number 4. I'm recording this session. If you have any, you can.
Yeah, watch again, yeah. But is
We need it. Yeah.
clear for from my side is they tricked us in a question,
Yeah.
but your explanation is, yeah, is very good.
I'm trying to give you general examples. If you compare it with the general examples, then it gets cleared.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I told you straight away jump to the question. Yeah, don't read all the information. Straight away jump to the question. What question is being asked? So the question is asked here. Okay, so it is a network boundary. Which devices have a network boundary of 192.168.0.24 applied? So if you look at the information is given, you straight away go to the network boundary. A network boundary, yeah, network boundary. So this is the, you see, deployed a network boundary configuration profile that will have the following settings. So this is the network boundary configuration settings that we have configured, and these are the groups that are included for this network boundary.
Okay.
So you see, the name is network boundary one. It's not important. It's also not important, I would say. Now here, if you see service scope tags, you see scope tags.
Yeah.
Do you know what is a scope tag?
No, no idea.
No.
Okay, tag is just used for like names, right? Like an ideal name. I can give you any name. For example, Suleiman. I don't know you, right? I don't know you. I can just give you a, like these English people say, hello, mate, right? They just ask you a random name, and some people they will call you brother, right, or something. Well, it doesn't affect your identity, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't affect your identity, or it has no effect on the policies. It has nothing. It is just used for our understanding. Let's say, if you have worked for in cables, so these cables, they put a tag on the cables to understand that what cable is this, and from where this cable is coming from. The tag doesn't work, it doesn't affect the flow of electricity or anything. It's just a tag, just a paper.
Just for identify.
Yeah, just to identify, just to know that, just giving it a name. So if you see at this, where was it? I'm scrolling both. If you see here, um, let me clear this. If you see here, take one and take two, these, they are not of use. Yeah, you don't even look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Tags, yeah, you don't even look at them. If you see, you might get confused that with this question, network boundary, with network boundary, where was it? Yeah, network boundary scope tag one, right? So deploy the network boundary, and the question is asked that which devices have a network boundary of 192.168.1.0 slash 24 applied, and you see the tag here is tag 1.
Yeah.
You see tag 1, and if you go to the this one, tag 1 is only device 3. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
might get confused that device 3 has only the network boundary applied, but no, like I said, tag has no effect, right? It is just for our business, just for our identification purpose, so that we can identify the resources, network resources.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to look at the group assignments here. Which were the group assignments? Assignments included groups, group 1 and group 2, right? So you look at which devices are in group 1 and group 2, and the network boundary will be applied to those devices. If you look group 1 and group 1 and group 2, group 1 and group 2. So device 1, 2, 3,
Connected.
4.
Yeah.
And this is group 3, right? So device 3 is not included, right? This policy is not applied on group 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means that device 5 is not the network boundary will not be applied on device 5, but will be applied on device 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
I think that was very simple, easy, right?
Hmm. It's,
Yeah, yeah, it's
Device 1, device 2, device 3, and device 4 only.
yeah. It's simple. We had just have to look for the groups. That's it.
Yes. So like I said, the tricks I told you, I mentioned you. You have to, in this type of questions, straight away jump to the question. What are they asking in the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there are so much information, and like I mentioned, for question one, we don't need these information, we don't need these information, we don't need policies, we don't need tags, tags in this, all of these questions that I identified, in all these questions, tags, they are not of use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is okay, we go to the next question. Let me clear this one first.
These are all the question called case study, isn't it?
Yeah, these
Okay.
are case studies. You see, these are all question one, two, three. These are the questions. So they have the same. Question number 5. Okay. Now, question number 5 is you need to study about app configuration policy and app protection policies. These are two different things we use in Intune, right? If you go to Intunes, here we have app protection policies and app configuration policies. These are two different things. So don't get confused with both of these. You go on Microsoft website and read about these, what are these, or you can use Google, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So in the question, it is asking, you have a Microsoft 365 subscription. You This is mostly no need to read. You use Microsoft Intune suite to manage devices. So you are using Intune, Microsoft Intune to manage these devices, right? And then you have the iOS app protection policy. So you see, here is the app protection policy. You see, app protection policy, not app configuration policy, right?
Yeah. Mm.
So app configuration policy, you have created an app configuration policy. If you look at the access requirements, you can do this lab. I have given this, do this lab for this question. Practice lab, configure app protection policies for mobile devices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do, but there were some prerequisites, so I didn't do this lab, and
Okay.
even I can't do this lab right now. Okay. So you need to create an app protection policy for Apple devices, right? And
Yeah.
this is the configuration that they have done. The
Mm.
configuration they have done. So pin for access, it's required. So if you need to access the application, yeah, if you
Mm.
need to access the application, you need to set a pin. And then pin type is numeric, simple pin, allow, select minimum pin is 6, and touch ID face of pin for access, it's allowed, override biometrics, require timeout, Okay, timeout of minutes. If you look at the question, what is asked in the question, after 30 minutes of inactivity. Yeah, so what were we discussing? Yeah, this one. Where was it?
The minutes timeout one.
Yeah, timeout. Timeout is 30 minutes, right? So 30 minutes timeout, if the device is inactive for 30 minutes, so it will require access again. It will require pin access,
Mm,
and pin reset after number of days. So no, number of days is not defined. If this is no, automatically this one is set to 0. If it is yes, then we define here the number of days, right?
mm,
And then a pin when device pin is set to 0, is set. So require and work or school credentials. Okay, here is the point related to this question. So it says work or school account credentials for access, so is required, right?
mm,
So the account credentials are required. When the account credentials are required, so when recheck the access requirement after an activity of 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, what does it requires? School account credentials for access.
mm,
Yeah, and also when you are when you use a school account credentials for access, then the pin is also required. Pin type for access is required, which is defined initially. If this was not required, then we would simply use the work or school pin credentials for access. Yeah,
mm,
so here this one would be correct. Account credentials only. You see, if we didn't configure this one, if we say pin for access required, if we say no, then the first one is correct here. After 30 minutes of inactivity, a user will be prompted for their account credentials only. So that would be account credentials only, right? So
mm,
since we have access, pin for access, and the device is reset and require to recheck the access requirements again. So that is why it is required to provide the credentials. Yeah, both
mm.
credentials and the pin. So the correct answer is pin and
Account
account
credential.
credentials. Yeah,
Yes.
if
Both.
we
Yeah.
yeah if we didn't set this one, if this one was not set here, this one, if we didn't set this one, these two, work or school account credentials for access,
Mm,
uh, required. If we didn't set this no, then we would only require pin,
pin.
then the second one would be correct. But since we have configured this one as well and this one, so both are required.
Pin and accounts both are required. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, entering the wrong pin 5 times. So if you see, entering the ring, you see maximum pin attempts
Five.
5, and
Mm,
reset pin. So it doesn't define reset pin. Which pin is to reset? Reset the app pin or reset the device pin. And these two automatically, even there is no point,
mm.
of these block access are wiped because it's not uh,
Mention.
mentioned. Yeah, block access is only for jailbroken or rooted device, not for incorrect pin.
Mm, mm,
And wipe company data is also wipe company data. Offline grace is for 90 days if the device is not logged in for active for 90 days, then it will wipe data.
mm,
But
mm,
wipe data not from your phone, from the application only, which is managed by Intune.
mm, mm.
Okay, so you understand the point here. It is app configuration policy, yeah? App
Yes.
configuration policy. app protection policy, not the app configuration
App
policy.
protection, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and this is why this answer they have said that this one is the correct answer. Reset the device pin, but here is nothing to do with the device. Yeah, this is app configuration policy. So app configuration policy, it will ask to reset the application pin, not the device pin.
Yeah.
You get me? This is wrong. They have said that this one, but this is wrong. It's not the correct one. Reset the device pin. It's not the.
App, yeah. Because they mention in a question the app protection policy, and they given the answer the device pin. That's not correct. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not correct because it's the app protection policy, not the device configuration.
Hmm. Hmm.
There are two things I told you in this one. We have app protection policies and app configuration policies. We have to, so we are setting, we are configuring the policy here, app protection policy, and in the app protection policy, we don't have access to someone's personal device. So by that I mean that if you incorrect if you type the pin code incorrect 5 times, you have to reset your device pin. Why must you reset your device pin when it is your personally owned device?
Yeah, it's nothing related to device because
Yeah,
we are using the app, not device.
exactly. And this is even, it is clearly mentioned that it is app configuration policy, not device configuration policy.
Mhm,
So that one is clear as well. Let's go to the other one. Question number 6. I was thinking I will finish this one in 1 hour. Okay, now which one is it? Question number 6. Yeah. So, question number 6, I gave you the document, yeah?
yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
read that document, and in that document, it explained to you what is this. First, you need to understand what is this.
Yeah, I will do this, Adil,
Yeah,
because you send the document. I will go through this whole document and I will understand this question. Yeah.
yeah. So you understand what is this ODT application?
Okay.
And
Yeah. I will look for it. I will Google it.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because these small things we should know. Then you will understand what is the ODT, why we use for that.
yeah,
We, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So ODT like is even defined here. Microsoft Office,
Um,
the deployment tool. Um, and it is used to install application, and I think there is no lab related to this one. I haven't seen any lab. uh, yeah, there is no lab in which we have used this ODT application, and we have downloaded installation file and then deployed it. I don't think we have any lab. But just understand this one, that you have to download the ODT application first and then create a configuration file which is in XML format, and then set up .exe, download to download the file. So these are commands, okay? Just to let you know, this is command line tool. This is not graphical.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then you set up .exe/configure to deploy the application. Now, at this point, you are kind of like editing the application and then deploying it.
Okay.
Okay, question number 7 is about what? So, these devices enrolled in Microsoft Intune, on which devices can you apply app configuration policies? Okay, here is also a lab. These two labs you can do. These two labs for
Mm-hmm.
this one. Configure an endpoint security using Intune, and configuring disk encryption using Intune. You will get the idea,
Okay.
but the main point I want to, it is not 100% related but 20%, and the point is I want to show you in those labs is this one, the app configuration policy. Remember I told you we have two
App.
policies. We can create two policies, different policy: app protection policies and app configuration policy. The
Mm,
previous one we did were the app protection policy. This one is related to app configuration policy,
yeah.
right? So app configuration policy, if you go, let's go and create an app configuration policy. I'm gonna go to app configuration policy, and app configuration policy, add and manage devices. So if you look on managed devices,
Mm,
and you give it a name here, any name here, and then you look uh, iOS and iPad and Android, right?
yeah.
So you can create an app configuration policy for only these devices. This is
Oh,
Intune, right?
yeah.
This is Intune. So you can create the app configuration policy, not app protection policy. Remember, I'm telling you again, not app protection policy. App
Yeah.
protection policy can be configured for Windows, Android, iOS, any device. But app configuration policy is only for iOS and Android.
Okay.
So it is asking on which devices can you apply app configuration policies. Now you tell me which
Yeah.
devices.
So Android and iOS, that's it.
Yeah, device 3 and device 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So see device 3 and device 4 only. I have
Mm,
explained this here, right? You can see this explanation.
yeah.
And this one is, well,
Okay. See, it's clear now. Is pretty easy. Is pretty. If you look for that, the lab.
yeah, we have to work, and it's like entirely,
Policy, yeah.
okay, air protection policy. Yeah. So air
Mm,
protection policy. Yeah, the recording was stopped. So air protection policy. You create a policy here. Let's say air protection for, let's say iOS, and name it any policy, and selected apps, all Microsoft apps.
So how many policies you can create for one application? They are asking
Okay.
about.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to that one. This one is for app protection. So this one is for iOS. iOS. So you see here, you can
Mm,
set all these policy, this app protection. So backing up data to iTunes and iCloud backups. So I would say block. I
mm,
want um, I don't allow my organization data to be, uploaded to that person iTunes and iClouds.
mm.
Okay, so that one is blocked. Send organization data, that is okay. Uh, allow users. Okay, this one. Uh, policy managed apps. Policy managed apps and save copies. Which apps, so you can choose the apps from here, and then you see here allow users to where was it, yeah, restrict cut, copy and paste between other apps, so you block it. Yeah,
Mm,
and this
mm,
is the objective here. It is asking us to, so you block this one here and create this policy and assign to that group, where you have set up the all iPhone devices, iOS devices. You just apply this policy to that one.
mm, mm,
Yeah, so this is app protection policy, and Now, how many policies? How many policies should you create in Intune? What do you think?
I have no idea about this.
Okay.
So, okay, so they are asking for how many policy we can create in Intune for any device?
No, 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 no.
No.
These devices are given to you. You need to enroll these devices in Intune, right?
Okay.
So you have only these five devices. For these five devices, you have created an app protection policy, right? So the
Hmm.
app protection policy is done for all these devices, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But the question is, how many policies will you create? How many policies? Because if you go here, if you go to the app protection policy, and let's create one. So you see, you are creating policy for what? For which device? For iOS, for
Yes,
Android, for Windows, or Windows information protection? For which device you want to create the policy, right?
yeah.
So if you look here, we have three main options we are using, yeah, with this Windows information protection. I don't know what it is, but we have Android devices, iOS devices, Android devices, and Windows devices.
Okay. Okay. So,
So
okay.
the policies, we create policies for different platforms, for different operating systems, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
We need to create a different policy for a different platform, for a different operating system,
Hmm.
not for a different version, right, or a different model. Let's say you have five Android phones, right?
Hmm.
One is S10, other one is S9, the other one is S20, maybe Note 10 plus, whatever you got, yeah, but all of them are Android
Android.
phones.
Hmm.
So you need to create how many policies? One.
One policy. Yeah, doesn't matter. The
Yeah,
version is doesn't matter, but that one
yeah.
is Windows and yeah, Android.
The version and model doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
as far as it is Android, so you need to create one policy which is Android for Android devices. And
Yeah.
here, how many different operating systems you have been given?
Here three: Window, Android, and iOS.
Exactly. So how many policies? You need three policies, right?
Yes.
And even I have defined here. So this one is, yeah, one policy for Windows, one policy
For
for
Android. Yeah.
Android, because this is policy 2, right? So for Android 8.0 and Android 9. And then this one is the third policy for iOS device.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Got it
Yeah,
now.
so the correct answer is 3.
Three. Okay.
Okay, question number 9 is you have Microsoft, you use Microsoft Intune to manage devices, and you plan to deploy two apps named App 1 and App 2 to all Windows devices. Okay, we don't have any lab in which we have installed two applications from the cloud, I believe, but still, if you can find out, since you will be doing all these labs, yeah. So if you
Hmm.
can find out, you can tell me, then we can do that lab. But
Okay.
the question is asked here, you need to ensure, so you are installing two applications, right? Two applications you are going to install. One is app 1 and the other one is app 2. Yeah, these two applications are you are going to install, but you are asked to make sure that app 2 is installed after app 1 is installed.
Yeah.
So here is a kind of dependency, right? It's a kind of
Hmm.
dependency. If in other words, if I tell you, that won't be incorrect. If app 1 is not installed, app 2 will not be installed as well. So
Hmm.
for app 2, for app 2 you need to install app 1 first, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Once app 1 is installed, then app 2 will be installed as well. And this
Yes.
is all automatic, this is autopilot, auto deployment.
Hmm.
Now, uh, the question is asked that what should you configure? Should you configure the app1 deployment configuration? Because it is deployment, app deployment configuration. So,
Mm.
should you configure the app1 deployment configuration or the app2 deployment configuration? You see, these two, a dynamic device group, it doesn't relate. There is no
Yeah.
point, to discuss these. So you eliminate these two in the very first
Mm.
instance, So these two, we are left with these two. So you have to choose within these two, app one deployment or app two deployment.
App one deployment configuration, I don't think so we need, because it's not related to other apps, but app two is related to other apps. So we need to deploy app two. We need a deploy configuration app two.
Exactly, because app one is not dependent, yeah. So
Yeah.
even if you not set any configuration policy, any configuration settings for app one, app one is gonna install anyway, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
we don't
But
need
but
to.
app two is depend on app one, so we have
Yes,
to configure app two.
yes, exactly. So you have to configure app two, and if you look at these, so app 1 will install anyway, like I said, so there is no setting required for app 1. However, you set a condition for app 2, which is app 1. So say which is app
Two.
1,
Yeah.
which is no, sorry, which is app 2 must be installed after app 1. Yeah,
Two.
and
Yeah.
you define this condition in app 2. So you need to define this condition in app 2 deployment configuration. More likely, if app 1 was not installed, app 2 will also not be installed.
Yes. Mm.
So it's quite simple. Okay, this one is we will just do this one because I have to go to work.
Okay, no problem.
So question number 10, it says you have devices enrolled in Intune as shown in the following table. So device one, 2, 3, and okay, Android and iOS. The app name app1 is installed on each device. What is the minimum number of app configuration policies required to manage app1? What do you say?
Minimum number of app configuration policy. Uh, app configuration. Yeah, it's two.
It's
Is
two, exactly. Yeah, we discussed here.
yes, app
Yeah, we discussed here. These are, you see. So again, it doesn't matter, which model they are, but uh, as far as the platform or the operating system is the same. So Android, we have two Android devices, one policy for Android and one policy for all these three devices,
yeah.
which are iOS. So B is correct. So okay, we will do the rest. Maybe if we can do it tomorrow, someday, sometime. Uh,
I am free whole day. Tomorrow I'm available when go to lab.
okay, to set up MD1 and sorry, MS-102 lab, right?
Yeah.
So the easiest way is to open your where is it go? Uh,
Because Zygam told us to set up from MD-100, but I don't remember those all
he
steps.
he's just making things confusing, he's making us confused.
Oh,
So just sign into your lab. I'm gonna go sign into my lab, right?
okay.
I'm signed into my lab. Launch your lab, which is shown here, Windows client,
Okay.
right? Okay, so this is your lab, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it opens, you click on this and end. You see,
Yes. Yeah.
end, and yes, end my lab.
Okay.
Now that's it. It's done. Just to refresh it, let me close it. Uh, I'll save this first. Now that's your lab is reset to the initial state, so you don't see any lab here because you haven't started your lab yet. And
Okay.
go to this one, my MD-100. All scroll down all the way, and launch lab. So this the since you are starting it for the first time again, so it's gonna create some time, take some time. Open your meanwhile our lab is gonna start, so just open your
Yeah.
MS-100 to this one.
Okay.
So you need to open it on one screen, and in other screen you can do this. You can open this one, this lab, and just straight away you can start from the very first lab. This is the very first lab, managing identities in Azure AD. So you see, but just straight away it is asking you where to go, and what you have to do. So you need to create a user account in Azure AD for new employees that will start next week. So new users are listed in the following table. So these are the new users. You need to create these new users,
Okay. Okay.
right? And where you create these new users. So you see here,
Yeah.
admin.microsoft.com. So you create these new users here.
So
And
we have to that open 30 days free trials one Microsoft Entra and Intune, isn't it?
don't use that one. Don't use that one. What I'm using, let me show you. Let me open my lab. If you go here to resources, you see
Okay.
this one, administrator username, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is your administrator username. The thing they asked us to do on Microsoft.com. You need to create an account, right?
Okay.
So I
Okay.
don't create an account. I use this account, and this is the password for this account.
So
Administrator
this
password.
account is already created.
Yeah, this account is already created. You don't need to create another account. You can use this account, admin. This is your tenant ID. This is
Okay.
your
Okay.
tenant. Yeah, this is already created for you, and they should explain this, like I said, but unfortunately they are not. They asked us to create another account. You
Hmm.
know, for practice purpose it is good to create another account, but usually we can use this one, and it's easy as well. So if I go to this one, let's say Cantoso administrator, sorry, the password, I'm gonna sign into the password to this, and if I go to age. So if I go to the edge, then I can straight away log in, using on Microsoft account. I can
Okay.
straight away, click here, and my username and password goes there. So this is your username, this is your admin email, and this is your admin password, to manage Intune, to manage Azure AD, all these online portals, you can use this account. I will
Okay.
show you this in the labs once we will do the labs. I will show you if you couldn't do it. And then the tenant name is, this is your tenant name. It is the same thing. You see this one?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
This is the
Yeah.
same one. So let's say you are asked to sign in using John account, right? So
Mm.
you just type John at the rate and then click on this one. So
Oh.
John at the rate M365 cross X 3777 at the Microsoft.com. So this is the tenant name. So
Mm.
you can use, for example, John, Brianna, Alex, anyone, and then at the rate this account, at the rate this. So you extend with this one, and this one is the user password.
Okay.
So for John, for Brianna, for Alex, for anyone, you use this password. Remember,
Oh.
this password is for user, this is for administrator. So you can use for all throughout this lab, you can use straight away go and start your lab. That's it. Just in the
Okay.
lab, in the
So
lab.
if we use this administrative username, then we can see the live lab. Yeah,
You can see what, sorry?
lab, which is we can continue on our PDF.
No, no, no. Listen, I'm being asked to, let's say this is the task. Yeah, this is the task I'm asked to go, right?
Yeah,
So if I go here, it is asking me to go on to this website, admin.microsoft.com, and then
but
it is
this
asked.
website we have to open from our lab. Yeah, Windows Client Lab.
I'm not opening it from Windows 10 since it is a cloud version, so I don't need to go to lab.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm opening it on my own laptop. This is my main laptop. You see, this is
okay.
admin. You see that account from the lab. You see this one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm accessing it from my own PC, and then the password is also saved here. And once I sign in here, so now, whatever I do here, and then to verify that if the policy is configured or not, then I switch to lab. Then I switch to lab and log in using that account. For example, I want to verify that whether the policy has applied to John's computer or John's profile or not. Then I log in to this computer using John's profile. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it now. Yeah.
I will do
Um,
this.